This is a perfect example of how a police officer should handle a combative suspect. He's not using any special techniques or flashy moves. He has great body control, positioning, balance, head control. He's driving his hips into the suspect. And most importantly, he's staying calm. He's telling the suspect to calm down, to relax. And I love this here, how the officer floats on the suspect's back while he's trying to stand up. This keeps the officer from being rolled over and put into a bad position. They come to a final resting place here. The officer has full mount, cross face with wrist control. He moves to hand control, which I prefer. And this is really good here. He switches hands so he can free up his other hand to communicate on the radio. And stays completely calm throughout this entire situation. Now he's got 2-on-1, wrist control, hand control with the crossface. He checks his surroundings, gets back on his radio, and then backup arrives.
What's up, my PBM family? What's up? Another episode of Old School Cops. Listen, I love the support that you guys are giving me, giving us, giving the brand. We are the best three-man squad in social media. So when we giving you our analysis, it's coming from people who've done the job well. We talk about not just arrests, but excellent convictions. Convictions rates was high because you got a lot of officers got good arrests, but low convictions. Those are your problem childs. Right. By it. It's easy to know when you got an officer out here not knowing what he's doing. You just watch his arrest rate and you compare it to his conviction rate. And those are the problem ones. But this squad right here don't have no problems when it comes down to arrests and convictions. Now, listen, you got a wealth of experience here. You got my boy Shane, who was a SWAT commander, spent many years on SWAT, also was a Red Dog operator. If anybody knows the BMF movie or the show, my boys was worried about Shane and his squad when it came down to them coming to Atlanta, setting up shop, because the Red Dogs was a very aggressive street enforcement unit that dealt with guns and drugs and gangs. My boy Shane was on there. Then we got the OG riding with us. We always love when the OG's with us. He's been doing policing before me and Shane was born.
That's right.
He's not that old, but he's been doing policing for a very long time. We tease the OG about that all the time because he has a wealth of knowledge. That's why we love when he rides. He was an excellent street cop. He did so well. He took his talents to the federal level, became a hell of a DEA agent, got a bunch of accolades and a wealth of knowledge. You send in the videos, we give you our assessments. Also, another thing, my tech guy said he loves how we interact with our supporters. He pretty much informed me that, listen, I got a program that I can send you guys, right? And he's gonna put it in the description. He's gonna put a phone in the description. So if you out and you see anything breaking news, you can text, you can call, we'll send you the link, and you could be a part of the squad and you can report on whatever breaking news that you see. So it's going to give you an opportunity to ride with the squad and report on breaking news. This particular video, I love videos like this because it actually allows you guys to see things that we've seen on a regular basis. It seems like social media and the news, they always want to highlight the bad, the bad, the bad. Us actually working in law enforcement, we actually get to see both. We actually see the bad, we see the good. What a lot of you don't understand is you see a lot more good. There's a lot more good being done than bad, but they highlight the bad so we understand the hate that you may have for law enforcement. So we're here to try to bring some balance and understanding to let you know that, you do have officers out here doing it right. And this is one of the officers that actually does it right. You notice how, it wasn't a constant beat in the head. Yo, stop resisting, stop resisting. This is a guy who's very comfortable going hands-on. And I think this is one of the things that law enforcement needs to embrace, needs to implement a lot more of, guys who's willing to go hands-on with no problems. You've seen the comfortability. We all three comes from environments that We had our physical confrontation. We was going hands-on before we was cops. So now becoming cops, it wasn't a shock factor for us. It was just like, okay, here we go again. And we did it, and we did it within compliance. We did it within policy. We did it the right way. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so scared to go hands-on, I need to grab guns. No, we did it in the manner of, okay, this is what we do. This is what the job requires. And we did it the correct way. Nobody here cost taxpayers millions and millions of dollars because we just went out and just beat the hell out of somebody, didn't understand when to pull back, when to escalate, when to move levels of force. You know, this job sometimes requires you to have to put hands on, but there's a criteria on how we do that. And what you see here was a perfect display of officer going hands on and doing exactly what he's supposed to done. Shane, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Joe. The officer did an excellent job of hands-on technique. He controlled the subject at every angle. You know, he was on top of him. You notice the subject never screamed, "I can't breathe, help, I'm dying." No, he maintained control. Officer was very calm. He controlled the body. He also controlled the head, and he also controlled the arms. At the same time, he was able to calmly radio to dispatch to let them know where he was at. He did a very good job, and that's exactly how you control the subject. I think a lot of times people today, officers today, are afraid to go hands-on, but it's actually easier and it's safer. If you're in somebody's space, you can easily grab them and take them down very easy if they're non-compliant. But at the same time, you don't have to hurt or use extreme amount of excessive force to do that. I haven't had to do that. You haven't, Joe or OG. None of us had to do that. So I think that the officer did an excellent job. You get an A+ of maintaining control, maintaining calmness, controlling the subject, and he did a very, very good job.
Go ahead, OG. Take it away.
It always makes a difference when you're confident enough to do that. You know, unfortunately for a lot of cops, and we've talked about this before, is being scared. You know, you get hyped up and you get anxious about things, but you know, I said a long time ago, you get scared afterwards. You got to handle your business. When you handle your business, you got to handle with confidence and force. And like Shane said, where the head goes, the body will follow. Controlling that head is real critical to keeping a guy under control, especially when you're trying to be not too aggressive, but in control. I had a guy one time who was like 6'8", and my other partners were fighting in the Sally Port, and this guy was acting like he wanted to go join him. And I had already taken the handcuffs off of him, so I did an arm bar on him, and I grabbed the back of his neck and I held his neck up against the wall, and he couldn't go anywhere. So the other guys out there fighting these little guys that they were dealing with, and I got this goon upside the wall, with my grip on his back of his neck, and you know, I kind of lightly tapped his head up against the wall a couple of times to let him know that he wasn't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I had his arm in the arm bar, and I actually had the back of his pants also with his hip pressed into the wall. You know, a lot of people don't realize that's a good technique. I used to use it a lot in Memphis. Put folk upside the wall and then push their hips into the wall so they can't come out. So it's a good thing to do. But you know, controlling that head is a big thing. And I mentioned earlier, you know, you grabbing that belt buckle and pushing that head back is a quick way to get them down, especially when they don't see it coming. You know, you do a quick tuck and push, and they go down like a ton of bricks, man. And you go down on top of them, and you can get what you need to get done right away there. A good move on his part. Excellent maneuver. You know, the only criticism I have, and I keep saying this over and over again, and I know that officers don't have enough backup, but you know, when you can see things going in a certain direction, you can always say, roll me a backup or whatever call sign or emergency signal you guys have.
Send me another unit.
Especially when you're in an area of town where you know this is happening. The other side of it, though, is, and Shane, you and Joe know this, sometimes when people get into situations, you just roll by anyway. You don't wait for them to ask you. You go in and roll up on them just to make sure they're okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
100%. 100%. The officer gets the A+. You heard it from the squad. Like we say all the time, man, if you got a gripe with the police, do not try to sell it on the side of the road. You will lose, hands down, all day, every day. You're talking about getting your ass whipped or getting killed. And this is not what we want to see happen. Any vindication that you will get is always in the courtroom. So please take your fight to the courtroom and be safe. See you next video.